Hi, my name is Philip Kaake. I'm with Compass Real Estate here in the East Bay. And in this video, I wanted to talk about predicting the future because I got an email recently from our own Patrick Carlisle, who is an analyst here at Compass. And I always really enjoy getting his emails. They're filled with lots of great information and charts and data that I love being able to show to people. And as a real estate agent, people are always kind of asking me to predict the future in the short term and kind of the long term, whether it's a buyer or a seller. We're all looking for a bias towards our own personal preference and outcome. And of course, we're always trying to affect things as best as we can, given the information that we have. However, I think there is a lot of anxiety about the future right now, living through this COVID-19 pandemic. Kind of in a general sense, there's a lot of anxiety about the future and what will happen as we come out of this. But I thought this was a great email, and he's got a quote from Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger is the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. And for those who don't know, Berkshire Hathaway is the investment company started by Warren Buffett, probably one of the most successful in the world. But in Patrick's own words, he gives a very lucid argument about all the nuances and caveats in trying to predict the future, which is, of course, impossible. So while I read this quote, I'm going to show some scenes that I've shot throughout the Bay Area over the last few years. I hope you enjoy them. So here we go. I've never perceived any human talent for predicting the future, despite the desperate desire to do so and the many methods employed over thousands of years. Many of the smartest people in the world, including Nobel Prize-winning economists, get it utterly wrong over and over again. I've never seen anyone be consistently right. I've never seen anyone even predict interest rate changes correctly. Nobody ever seems to remember their wrong predictions, and getting one prediction right or semi-right doesn't mean anything about a consistent ability to do so. The world and the markets are affected by thousands, maybe millions of local, national, and international, demographic, social, political, and environmental issues, all constantly interacting with each other in impossible to figure out ways. When people confidently make predictions, they typically cherry-pick a single factor, statistic, or expert quote. You can substantiate any opinion this way. Analysts, economists, and other experts, all at prestigious institutions with impressive pedigrees, often completely disagree with each other. As often as not, the events that have sudden major negative impacts on the market come out of nowhere, completely off the radar screen, such as, to name a few examples, the coronavirus, fraudulently rated collateralized debt obligations, earthquakes, savings and loans, junk bond bankruptcies, and the Yom Kippur War Middle East oil embargo. There have been instances where it could honestly be said that a certain thing had never happened or not happened in 100 years, with the implication that therefore it can't happen now, and then that thing happens. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. What happened in previous downturns and recoveries may or may not apply to today's circumstances, so don't be so certain they do. Many, if not most, predictions are made by those who have vested financial, political, or emotional interests, sometimes subconscious, in convincing people they're right. The more confident someone is in their prediction, the more likely they are to have a vested interest and to be wrong, since bias skews any analysis. It is illegal in California for a real estate agent to consciously give advice based upon their own financial interests. The best economic forecasters have large amounts of humility, constantly question their calculations and tentative conclusions, try to adjust for personal bias, and cover any discussion of possible outcomes and caveats. If one does that, I believe one can honestly share one's thoughts with those who ask for it. The best one can do is to provide data that is as straightforward as possible and let people come to their own conclusions. However, no matter how much data is provided, it will be inadequate to the challenge of correctly predicting the future. So far, supercomputers have failed to do so reliably. The desire to be positive and optimistic has no actual value in predicting the future, though it may have other psychological values. Those predictions most likely to get it somewhat right are usually the most general. For hundreds of years, real estate and the financial markets have moved in cycles, and presumably they will continue to do so. But I can't predict their timing, their specific causes or details, and the magnitudes of their ups and downs. Generally speaking, the most reliable strategy seems to be to buy a home for the longer term, one whose monthly cost is readily affordable to you. Ideally, using a long-term fixed-rate loan, refinancing to lower rates when that option makes sense, while keeping an adequate financial reserve for emergencies, and then resisting the urge to use one's home as a refinance ATM to buy stuff during times of significant appreciation. Of course, that doesn't mean that short-term investing can't work out extremely well, or that long-term investor homeowner can't be badly affected by a sudden negative turn in the market and or their own circumstances. So there you go, Patrick Carlisle's own words on predicting the future. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.